QA-related artifact objects, they really enrich you to better understand the requirement from the viewpoint of its quality. So now we're going to quickly talk about the product owner, the job role of the SpecDD process. So we'll cover the product owner, the project manager, the SpecDD coach, the QA lead, the development team, and the QA teams. And then tomorrow we'll be talking about all the processes and the development artifacts, the quality process and the quality artifact, as well as the meetings used to enforce such process are properly followed. So tomorrow really we have 3 core areas need to be covered. So now let's talk about the SpecDD framework. The SpecDD framework picture gives you a view that is a process centric, but when we talk about process, people are the most important. They are the active drivers of driving these processes. So if you think about there is product requirements, these are the artifacts that the development process use as well as the QA process use to make the product requirements to become the working software. The working software is the result of such product requirement become committed to product backlog or release backlog, and then start with the sprint planning meetings, and do the daily stand-up meetings, and do the sprint review and retrospective meetings. As a result, the sprint, one by one, these pages represent the multiple sprint, help you to deliver the improved product. And the improved the product get used by an independent QA team to test the product cycle by cycle with a release test plan, defining the quality standard. So as a result, the working software gets delivered to the QA test teams really based on the daily delivery. Don't forget that we have a daily build here. The daily build is delivering the improved product. In other words, the improved product is not just the end result of development sprint, it's the result of every day. Such improved working software need to be used by your testing team with the testing plan and by performing testing cycle. And such testing cycle in terms of start and end date do not necessarily need to be synchronized with the development sprint. So that's the framework. So let's talk about each of the team members. The Agile team here represented is the development team. It could be multiple development team. And the QA team is the QA regression team. Within the Agile team, don't forget, we also have QA members joined the Agile team. Often, there are 1 or 2 QA floaters in the SpecDD model joined the development team. The floaters, while working with the development team, the QA floater really belong to, from organization point of view, belong to QA organizations. In other words, the QA team assign 1 or 2 members to each Agile team. What's the gain of the QA team? By assigning a QA floater to the dev team, they make a tremendous amount of return by making a very small investment from quality point of view. Let me explain to you why. The QA floaters join the development team, make the development team not only doing the development work, but doing the development and doing testings. The reason is now the QA floaters bring the quality culture into the Agile team, and they are more capable of helping defining the test cases while doing the development work within finishing each of the sprints. they are actually contributing to the test case library. Of course, such test case library will be also created by the QA team and get used, so this should be bi-directional line, get used to create testing tasks for conducting, making sure the development sprint get done, but with quality controlled. Of course, you need a QA managers, you need a development managers, and you need the product owners. When you have a project with multiple agile teams, you might dedicate one QA team. You might as well have multiple, 1 or 2 or 3 QA team as well when the agile project is big. So the product owner might have a product owner structure. You know, they have managers, they have the chief product owners, and as well as the QA managers and the project managers might have a reporting structure as well when the project is big. But nevertheless, we want to break down the work to the agile for the development process and to the testing cycle by each QA team to do the QA testing. And the QA floater connect the development force with the QA testing force. That described then for each of the job role become very easy to describe. So the product owner is responsible for the business value of a project. Define the features of the product, decide on the release, and often, you know, just want to remind you, the product owner will have a chief product owner. So for a large project, really the chief product owner need to decide the release dates, and as well as for each development space, you might want to have sub-release as well. You know, for this release, we want to have a beta release, alpha release, and alpha, beta, and then production. And within each of the sub-release, we're going to have multiple development sprints. And prioritize the feature according to the market value, adjust the feature and priority every iteration as needed, accept or reject the work result. When a work result gets rejected, from the SpecDD story point of view, can you guys think about what will be the result? So the result will be like one spec, say spec 100, get assigned to a development sprint. So you have the first copy of the story, and you might as well create a second copy of the story. But after the sprint is finished, the delivery got rejected for this spec 100. Obviously, you're going to create more stories for the requirement spec 100 for the future sprint. So as you can tell, whether the requirement gets rejected or requirement gets modified or sometimes get enhanced, you might end up creating multiple stories to create the same requirement and work with the QA team to meet quality standard. Instead of emphasizing SpecDD master must be the person running a project, or product owner must be certified as a SpecDD product owner. Right now, we only have one training course, which is SpecDD master. So we only recommend the SpecDD master certification to be recommended to practice the SpecDD process. Project managers, while we recommend the SpecDD master to be serving such project managers, but then a project manager does not need to be necessary must be a SpecDD master to be able to run a project. To ensure the project manager is to ensure that their team development is functional and productive, meaning they not necessarily need to find problems to solve problems, but they need to observe and recognize problems, and if there are problems blocking a team to be functional, they're responsible to remove such blocking obstacles. Promote the SpecDD to everyone involved. Ensure that everyone follows the SpecDD rules. Responsible for team and the project managers. Recommend to be certified as SpecDD master or expert. The development team. An agile team need to be a team with complete capability to make a commitment of a development sprint and to be capable of finish all of them with the minimum help from outside. So that's why often it's small, it's cross-functional, QA floaters are included, user experience designers are needed, depending the project need. Programmers, of course, are always needed, but you might need other people. Self-motivate and organize to get work done, develop the functionality, and meet the quality standard. So in a SpecDD, it's not just about making sure all the work is done, time remaining estimate, burn down, monitoring the progress. But quality exists as a subtask, as the QA floater job role, and quality also is used to make sure to connect the time remaining estimate, meaning when a subtask of a quality task is failed, then you cannot really make the time remaining to be 0 for its parent development task. So there are artifacts specifically designed to assure every development sprint has quality standard that need to be met, and then develop functions and improve requirement documentation. So what's added to a development team job responsibility is they are responsible to improve the requirement documentations, because requirement driven necessarily means requirement need to be fully specified first before you start the implementation task. But it does encourage documentation need to be added, need to be the intelligence on deciding what requirement is accepted, how the requirement understanding gets improved, are encouraged to be recorded inside that spec methodology. The QA managers are responsible for the QA testing strategy execution, promote the SpecDD to QA team members, responsible for the release test plan and test cycles, obviously responsible to create the testing standard, obviously always improving, working with dev team and the QA team to improve the test case for defining and quantifying the quality standard. It's recommended to become SpecDD master or expert certified. A QA team itself contains 2 to 7 team members, and it could be used, it coexists with one or multiple development teams, and they are responsible to develop test cases based on the requirements and to create the test plan and run the testing cycles. So one question you will ask will be, so if there is a QA testing team, and when they will be working on defining the test case standard, obviously for those requirements it's already well understood, then defining the test cases can happen at earlier before even the requirement gets committed to a development sprint. But often the requirement cannot be fully understood without the working software. So the test cases will be defined as the requirement get assigned to the sprint as well, or some of the test cases will be created before the requirement gets committed, assigned to the development sprint. But often, as the agile team working on the requirement, test cases will be created by the programmers, by the QA floaters, as well as by the QA testing team. And another question is, I have seen many of the students attended my training ask the question, oh my, it sounds like with SpecDD, you need a big investment, a lot of QA team members. My answer is actually no. if you notice, purposely I have made 2 to 7 people to form a development team, to form a QA team. And it could be such one QA team could be serving multiple Agile teams. The reason I emphasize an independent QA team exists is that's the only way to be able to track QA-related processes and artifacts. Earlier, I used the term and used the concept. A QA floater is the investment of your QA organization or your QA team, whether it's big or it's small. Such investment allow you to actually convert, to make all programmers, developer, Agile team members to be better testers. In other words, even you have only 2 people for the QA team, it would be better for you to retain such 2 people as an independent QA team to practice creating testing plan and run test cycles, and yet use the same 2 people as QA floaters and work them really, really hard, make them over workloaded. But using this model actually is going to save you to use the less QA member as your organization's QA team resource, yet power your QA results, because they will be helping you, the QA floaters will be helping you to make all developers better testers. When you look at all the heavy product backlog, look at the heavy workload of your Agile team, and I think as top executive managers with a small QA resource, at least you have an assurance that all of my testing standards are still created. Yes, I don't have many QA team members running such testing practice, but I have every single team members of my Agile team running testing as well. So I hope to explain why the 2 people, even the 2 people, represent the minimum resource I feel a development organization should have, and use them as both the QA team as well as the co-located QA floaters to maximize your quality with minimum QA resources used. So obviously the QA floaters are usually 1 to 2 members who join the Agile team, work with developers. They are co-located. They work with the QA team, and they co-locate with the Agile team, and help to write test cases, work with the QA team, and connect the QA practice with development team. And they help to assure the quality of development sprint. The best contribution they make is creating a development culture of your Agile to be quality, more quality aware. And then the programmers are the drivers of the implementation task, creating the working software, are more capable of performing QA testing because they are working with the QA floaters side by side, often face to face. So how do you become SpecDD certified? By taking this course, I would say you are certified as SpecDD expert, because now the SpecDD. To become SpecDD master certified, I would encourage you to take online test sometime. I also encourage you to make your classroom exercise to be a good quality of PowerPoint, and to submit your writing into the SpecDD.com. Obviously, you do not necessarily want them to be public available, but only available among this group of people who attended this training. I think it could be interesting. So I encourage you to submit to SpecDD.com. So as we continue to work on the presentation, I hope you guys will do some writings. And to become SpecDD coach, obviously, it needed years of practice, and trainer takes more effort. I'm the founder, so I certify right now only 2-3 people to be trainers. I have 5-6 of SpecDD coaches, so we provide kind of on-site training and as well as on-site coaching if you are interested in becoming more involved in the SpecDD methodology. In my view, that the future of Agile is indeed making the Agile process to be integrated with the quality management and requirement management without overwhelming, making the Agile process to be too complicated, but make the Agile process to be more balanced with quality and requirement management. So it might not be SpecDD, but I predict the future will be more like a methodology like more SpecDD, which promote Agile but with requirement quality integrated to be the future of Agile award. Okay, so I will have student presentations very soon, but this presentation is much easier. Requires it's more kind of viewpoint. So what do you think makes a good team leader? You are running an Agile Scrum team, or you'll be running a SpecDD team. Agile team leader need to be a servant type leader. A leader in Agile relies on making the team to be more motivated. They will be more self-driving. And I think if you follow the development culture, if you think a Scrum process very, very, very deep and hard, more like a founder's view, like me, who dedicate a lot of time, a development methodology is really helping in building a team less at the task level. We used to use workflow to make the team productive. Development method creating a team rhythm, a team practice culture, value, so the team becomes more productive and feels more optimistic and feels fun and proud of what they can do. So a team leader should be good at finding problems and making the problem to be visible so that the team can be more productive. And they should generate the deliverable software product every day, making sure the team is delivering the working software every day. And achieve the releasable quality of the working software for each sprint. Practice the daily stand-up meetings every day in time and update the burn down chart is really one good method to make the burn down report looking nice, looking like the true reflection of how team drive themselves. It requires a leader to be serving so that at 9:30, every team members are ready for 15 minutes stand-up meetings. And quantify the requirement to ensure that they are understandable and easy to communicate. Assure work progress. Publish the burn down report quick, easy. Make them visible. Assure the quality. Publish the status of the software testing so that the